So hi, everybody. Say hi.
How you doing?
Hey, everybody. So Steve, Katie here, and we're with our local global community. We have people from BGSU as well as from as far away sometimes as Japan. I think we ought to have a session just for Ken, who's come to almost all the sessions, and he gets up at 3 in the morning to come join us, in Japan. So we should do one in the afternoon so that he can come in the morning and we can and do that for him. So I'm going to ask him what time works for him, and we'll do one for just for him. For today, we're going to do a few things, and these sessions are teaching online transition sessions. They're all about us helping each other and supporting each other and sharing our best practices, being in community, and so forth, while we also try to address a hot topic each time, and just so we have something new and fresh. But always, you will get your questions answered one way or another. So you'll never have that a question left unanswered or some help. And there's people showing up now from ITS. We got some experts that, like Terrence is here. Hey, Terrence. We have Paul. We have, let's see who else we have. We have Paul. Yeah, Paul. We have Paul. We have a bunch of people so we have all kinds of expertise to share and so forth. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to do a quick hello. I'm going to put you into a breakout room, and what I'd like you to do is just say, how are you? What's happening in your world? Who are you? And what's coming up for you around all this work? And then you got 4 minutes. You're going to be in a group of 2 or 3 people to say hi, just 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll come back. I just want to get everybody a chance to say hi and chat. You might even solve a problem real quick. So head on out. You're going to see a little link. And we'll just take, like I said, about 3 minutes, 4 minutes to say hi. You'll see a little link on your screen that says join the room. You'll see it somewhere pop up. Oh, I gotta assign you to. I'm gonna put Lucy. I'm gonna put you into. Why don't we just stay here together and we'll just have a conversation? How about we do that? So Edith and Lucy, you two are unassigned. Everybody else is headed off, and why don't we just say hi and tell me a little bit about who you are, introduce yourself, and what's happening for you around all this technology and learning and how you're doing.
Okay. Should I start?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, Lucy. Yeah.
Okay. I'm an adjunct assistant professor now after teaching for 30 years and doing lots of online courses. However, I was doing online prior to when we could actually do this type of thing.
Yeah.
So all of my online, and I think it's appropriate for at least one of the classes. I'm just having them read lecture notes on Canvas, read articles, do discussion questions, and do open book quizzes. The thing that I am trying to figure out. This is what happens also when I don't talk to people for several days.
You lose your voice.
Yeah, and sitting in front of the computer like this doing it all day long. So, something I'm trying to set up for my students is simply an optional, Webex meeting or Zoom meeting. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that through Canvas, so that I don't have to type in every single email address for every single student. And this would simply be optional. For this particular class, it normally meets from 4:30 to 5:45 on Monday and Wednesday, which is probably a pretty inconvenient time if students are with their families. So what I'm planning on doing is simply offering it every Wednesday and then some morning during the week.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering about how to actually set up those meetings and to make it optional.
Yeah. So it's really, we have several of the recordings. If you go to that link, that's the teaching-online-transition that I sent in the email that you've seen in all the emails. We have a community document in there from the previous several webinars. We have walked through exactly how to do all of that. And we actually have a list in there of resources and links and YouTube playlists on how to set all that up.
Okay, is any of that written out? Just because we're being bombarded with so much information.
Yeah. So
and I started looking at some of the videos, and it wasn't really exactly what I needed.
So I can show you down below. Down in the list, we made little. You can see a list on how to set up. I'll make sure it's there. I'll check on the list, but it's real easy because they got these little 5-minute, 7-minute videos that walk you through how to do it. So it's one thing that's quick for you. I'll put it in there and I'll try to get it to you because we'll have to get back. But one of the things is if you just go to YouTube and you type that question in, how to set up a Zoom room, or in Canvas, how to invite people to, because essentially what you're going to do is want to do it as an announcement. And just put the link in and say, hey, everybody, come to this Zoom link for my for an optional meeting. And I put it in the calendar as well. And I put the link in the calendar, and I just have them in there. I'll show that when at the end of today, we're going to talk about discussion boards, and then I'll show it.
Okay.
For you. Yeah. So that's a good question.
Okay.
Just stay on, and I'll show you. Okay.
Okay. Now, and I apologize, for asking a question that I know a lot of people have already asked, but I've talked to other people too.
Yes,
and,
okay.
they're just kind of waiting for things to settle down.
Yeah. It's okay. It's no problem asking. No problem at all. So we're going to bring people back. Edith, you want to say hi briefly and how you're doing and what's going on?
Hi, I'm Edith Scarletto. I'm a university librarian for the sciences. So we are working a lot online, fielding student and faculty questions through chat. And then I'm also teaching the LID 2210 online course this semester.
Cool. And how are things going?
Well, most people are relatively understanding of their limitations on what kind of services that we can provide. So we're just trying to make those as seamless as possible as we gather more and more resources, and being very patient, trying to get people to the things that they need. So.
Okay. And Renee, you want to say hi?
Good day, everyone.
Hey there. So there's probably, I have a feeling that all these breakout rooms, I'm going to be curious if people have been having a lot of they wish they had more time. But I'll check in to see because I think people are jumping into some very practical things, all kinds of stuff. We might I'll just check and see what other people have to say as they come back. So hey, everybody, as you're coming back, one thing that's showing up is that a lot of people have lots of just different variety of questions, and they're helping each other pretty well. And so the question is, do we need, we'll have time for that. But maybe what we do is we pause, take a few questions now, allow for about 15 minutes, then kind of get the hot critical issues off people's plates, and then go to the hot topic of discussion boards. So maybe we do that. I'm gonna kind of see what everybody says. So you all can raise your hands, and in the thing you can go into the manage participants. You can see your name, and then you can raise a hand. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. So if under your name you can do stuff. So anyway, and also the other thing that you see is the chat. We like to have parallel conversations. If you have a question that you need answered, there's people here that have the answers. And so if you can, let's answer the questions in the chat while we're doing it live as well. So pose your questions in the chat, help each other in the chat. We save the chat, and then that also gets uploaded so you can come back and get that later. So please go in there because we've got different people here who can right off the bat maybe answer your question very quickly or give you a quick link. Terrence has been working with first-time users on Canvas and technology. So he's been doing sessions and stuff like that. We got Terrence here, and so he'll jump in and answer questions. Paul is running the online programs for the university, and so we got that there, and we have different people who have a lot of expertise in different things. So feel free to ask in the chat. We'll bring it out live as needed. We're going to kind of roll with it as we go. But let me pause. In your chat rooms, was there a question that couldn't get answered in your chat room? And should we go ahead and kind of address these challenges first and then go to the hot topic second? If you would just, does that make sense? It's kind of hard to get off if you got something burning that's in front of you. So let's take 15 minutes and just address critical issues, get them in the chat room or bring them out live. And we'll just kind of meander through this moment. But the chat is really key. Put your questions in chat. And then Terrence, you might see something in the chat and go, let me talk live about it. Or Paul or somebody else, or Teo, or any of our other experts that are in the room. A lot of people have lots of expertise here. So let's pause in your chat rooms. Was there anything that was discussed that you would like to bring out live and get help on? I have one. I'll jump in, but if anybody has anything, it looks like the chat's getting pretty active. So I'm going to share something with Lucy. She was like, how do I, she knows it's been asked before. It's all about setting up a session and so forth. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do on coordinating my students meeting me for optional live sessions. And so I'm pulling up my class now, and let me pull this up here. Let me see. Does anybody have? Let me see. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my graduate course, although I can do it for my undergraduate class as well. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me move it over because my screen's, I have one screen that doesn't project well. Okay, so let me share that screen over there. Okay. So do you all see my class over here? And so what I have are a couple things. And so this is for Lucy. So for you all over here, I'm looking at another screen. But essentially, a couple things that I do is I go to calendar, right click, and I love teaching students right click and open in a new link. That saves them a ton of time because now their calendar opens up. So now I go into calendar on Google, and in here I have online progress check optional. You see that right there, Lucy? See that? Lucy, can you see that on my screen? Are you seeing it? My calendar?
Steve, I think you're sharing only your browser.
Oh, okay. So let me go back. I'm sharing the wrong screen. I'm just going to bring it over to this one then. Here. Now you can see it.
Yep.
All right. So I was sharing. I had it on the wrong screen. All right. So you see here. So I have online progress check, and I click this here. And what I do is the students can come in to. Let me go back here. Back one. Go back into it. So here's one that I like to share. I think this is a good model one. I put in the link, I put a little bit about what this is all about, and I tell them why it's important to use the tool. So I say, hey, it's great, it's good for you to have your professional toolbox. We'll meet, click here at the, click on the, you can cut and paste this link in. They can join at any time and they have it. And so that's what I do. And I put it in the calendar. And then I also will put it in announcements. I'll make announcements. And in announcements, what you can do is you can create an announcement and you can delay posting here. You put the date in and I'll say, okay, so I'm gonna remind them here, tell them about it here, and then I'm gonna remind them on Friday and do another one. And I set the time and I put the message and I put the link in. So and so you can use announcements like emails, but you use announcements and you queue them up. And so I'll have a whole semester done. I'll have all of my online sessions scheduled in. I'll put them all in the calendar, and then I'll put all the stuff in the calendar about the links, and then I'll do a little announcement, and I'll time it for each one that morning. Say, hey, remember, we got another session today. Click on the link below, and it goes out to everybody in announcements. And then I remind the students, set up all your notifications, and have Canvas on your smartphone so that it reminds you and you have it all right there. So let me pause and jump in. So Lucy, do you have anything else? And then let's see if anybody has anything else. But Lucy, anything else that you want some help with that you were asking about?
No. I think that's clear enough. Yeah, and then also telling me about looking on YouTube. I think that helps.
Yeah. So I literally, if you go into our document, we have some playlists that have been hot topics in the playlists. So if you go into the tinyurl.com/teaching-online-transition, you'll see a lot of resources there for you. And Teo will put it in the link in there. And you can just go. We have a few different playlists there that will be helpful to you. And then you can ask. You just send a. We've got everybody that's really available. Different people that have been quite available over time. Terrence, Patrick Lisk was here. Patrick, are you here? He may not be here today. He was here on Sunday. He's also available. If you look at Patrick Lisk, he'll take questions and help you as well. So you got lots of different people to ask around this kind of stuff.
Hey Steve,
Yeah.
I wanted to comment. I think it's a great idea to use announcements because it goes out to their emails or their preferred way of being notified. Also, if you're using modules and you want to integrate the announcements sort of at the top, if you go into the settings of your course and you scroll to the bottom, there's a more options section. It's kind of buried, but it's kind of important. So if you're in Canvas, you go to your settings, scroll to the bottom, there's a more options button. Oh, you're going there right now. Yeah. Oh, you're doing it. So yeah, you've placed your announcements at the top. Go ahead and.
Yeah, so like you can do this. So announcements, I have it set to 3. I think I have it set to 3 on this one, but you can go to settings and he's saying go down to down here and it says, where is it?
It's not
More
showing.
options. And it says show recent announcements on course homepage. And you can click there and you can say 3, 1, 2, 5, however
Hey
many.
Steve, it's just showing the one.
Steve.
It's just
What's that?
showing your Canvas homepage.
Darn
It's
it.
not showing on your share screen.
Every time it's like, I have 2 screens. I'm trying to get, this one's supposed to be clear.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. This screen, I have 2 screens and Teo keeps telling me this one shows up clearer for everybody. So I'm trying to, so anyway, so you go in here and I have 3 at the top. You click on settings and you scroll down, you go to more options. Scroll down here, you click on this right here. You can show announcements on the homepage or not, and then you can have up to, as many as you want.
Right. So if you actually select modules to be your homepage, those announcements will actually sit up top of your modules as well. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Other comments? We got about 7 more minutes and then we're going to jump into discussion boards, but just general discussion, comments, questions, or help. Nothing is a dumb question. We are all in this together. You all are super committed to what you're doing, which is why you're here.
Just
And
two real quick ones.
We're here to help each other.
Somebody asked in the chat if you can share your screen in the breakout rooms. Yes, absolutely. And then another question was whether you can save the chat from the breakout rooms. That is a setting dependent thing. I think our meeting currently is set that the chat for the breakout rooms is the same chat for the whole group. But I'd have to go into the settings and double check depending on what those settings are. Yes, you can save them, but it's like in the settings for that specific session that you're creating.
Yeah. So you basically have options. Yes, Salim, you have to unmute. I'll unmute you. I'll unmute you. There you go.
Okay, I think the question is about the Webex versus Zoom. It came on one of the questions, and somebody answered that WebEx, it seems supported by the university, but Zoom is not. That's my understanding. But at the same time, it seems we are conducting this meeting here on Zoom. So I'm really bit, just clarification on that.
Yeah, so I'll directly, you got WebEx and the university's paying for it. You have access to using WebEx because it's paying for it. And so you do have that option and it is supported. And the second feature is when you go to the big blue button, when you go into Canvas and you look at collaborations, you can go in there to conferences. Have you seen that? You haven't seen that. So if you go into, so I'll show you real quick to you, and let me show you. Make sure that we are. Okay. So are you seeing Google right now, or are you seeing my class?
We see Canvas.
Okay.
Canvas.
Now, so Salim, if you go in, down over here, you see where it says conferences down here and collaborations?
Yes.
So when I click on conferences, I can set up a conference right here. And I can create a time in the big blue button, which has a lot of the same features as Zoom. WebEx doesn't allow for breakout rooms and other types of things that I like to do. And it has a whiteboard and all kinds of stuff attached to it here. So I can set up a big blue button. The problem is, when you do it, you will see, once you set up a meeting, you'll see it'll say, hey, sorry, there's certain bandwidth limitations with big blue button. So try using Zoom. So Zoom is another feature because Big Blue Button can only support so many sessions at one point in time. So once it hits the max, you can't use it. So it's already being used up. So try using Zoom. So I think what I have is I have WebEx, the Big Blue Button, and Zoom as my three options, and I use those three. Some people like to pick one to get started with to keep it simple for them. So let me stop there. Who else wants to chime in? Maybe Terrence, you might chime in on this and share a little bit about from the university perspective.
Well, sure. I wanted to share with everyone. I'm going to put it in the chat, but everyone at BGSU has their own virtual room in WebEx, and it's going to be a URL with your username at the end. So I'm going to put mine in the chat just so you can see what it looks like. But if you go to this URL and then put your username at the end of it, you'll get taken to your virtual room, and then you can share that with whoever you want to meet with, whether it be a student or anybody like that. But I agree with you, Steve, as far as, it's going to depend on what your needs are. If you want to do breakout rooms, it looks like this is a good option, things like that. But right now we're kind of running into an issue with bandwidth with everybody being on Cisco right now. We're looking at trying to up the storage for that because we're running up on our quotas pretty quick there. So that's something that we're in talks with. But I would encourage everyone to try to explore these tools, explore WebEx, Zoom, and the conferencing tool and see what works for you. Paul, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree with Terrence there. For some of these tools, on one hand, institutionally, we don't want to overwhelm you with so many different choices that it gets confusing as to which one makes more or less sense for a given situation. So we understand that too many choices is not necessarily a good thing. I get that. However, like Terrence said, you may want to play around a bit and just experiment. We all have our own WebEx meeting rooms. The URL does not need to change based on inviting students or anything like that. Like Terrence said, it's just that URL ending with your BGNet user ID instead of Terrence right there. I was just talking with Bill Balzer recently just in his. So that's always an option, and WebEx works really well. Now that being said, for a Big Blue Button, I don't really use it that much. I know it's right there, but for a lot of the courses that I would teach, they might have a lot more students, 90, 100, 115, something like that. And I would hit that limit in Big Blue Button right away. So, in many cases, I would just kind of just skip it, even though, yes, it's there and it's an option and it is supported. I would say for your classes, maybe just put everything you got in WebEx or Zoom, play around with both. If you like one more than the other, then maybe stick with that. Just remember that WebEx is directly tied into Canvas, and at least at this point in time, Zoom is not.
Right, right. And I would offer too that I really, Terrence, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know this feature here. So Salim and Lucy, you just take that link there that is in the chat room where it says bgsu.webex.com/meet/Terrence. Replace Terrence with your username. Send that out to your students. Whenever you click on that, that room is always, and whenever they go there, it'll be just, it's like a sitting room waiting for you. So you can just say, use that. And that will work perfectly for what you want to do, I think. I like to do these breakout sessions and stuff, so I'm just staying in Zoom because I have the same thing, but a Zoom link like that. And my students go to that, and then we can break up into subgroups in their teams and do other kinds of things. So I think that'll work really well. For a lot of you, that option that Terrence just shared you will work well for your initial stuff. If the students just get to see you and talk with you a little bit, they're going to relax. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
So just get to WebEx, get them there, see them, talk to them live. They'll be okay. Answer their questions like we're doing here, and take an hour and have the conversation a few times a week, and you'll find that it'll save you a ton of emails later. You know, so.
I do want to say something. A couple things. So Steve, you were talking earlier about your calendar. One of the things I used WebEx this morning for the first time. And one of the things that's nice is that everyone is already, because it's integrated into Canvas, everyone is already there, and they got a notification from WebEx, and they could go to the WebEx thing, and it was, it seemed like it was easy for them all to join. They had to install WebEx, but in terms of reminders, notifications, it's there. So it seemed a little bit easier that way. And then I know I have a WebEx account because I tried it this morning, and I had the same problem that Sankar just said at the bottom. We couldn't find a personal room, SKOPPIT, which is mine. So how does that, so I guess it doesn't work for everybody. There's two of us at least have the same issue.
I'm going to hand it off to Terrence or somebody else who might have an answer there.
Oh no, that's good to know. What you can do is go to bgsu.webex.com and then log in and see if you have an account there. Because when you go to bgsu.webex.com, it'll take you to the sign-in session. You'll be able to see if you actually have a room. If you don't, then you want to reach out to TSC and find out. I
don't know if Terrence is having an issue or I am, but so I just did what Terrence said and logged into my personal room. And so I logged in on bgsu.webex.com, and I've got, my URL is /meets/meets_autogen_ and then a code. So I've got, so mine's not nice and simple. I don't know if I can edit that or not.
Yeah, so maybe that's what you have to use as a link to make it simple, but it might be that it has a vanity URL that they attach to that for you. They might, I don't know.
No, I'm glad this out, because I guess the end would be, if you're a faculty member, make sure you just go to bgsu.webex.com, log in, and see what URL they give you as your personal room.
Can you show that? Your screen,
everybody's using it.
Maybe. Let's see.
Show what you're doing. So show us what you got.
So
you don't have to.
Hold on. I'm trying to find the buttons.
There we go.
I don't know if you're seeing it.
So yeah, we see it.
So I did exactly what Terrence said. I went to bgsu.webex.com, and I was already logged in, so it brought me straight to here. And so you can see my URL is this auto-generated thing. So I don't know if there's a way to create the vanity one or not, but I do have one.
But you got the link, and then you give that out.
I could give this link out, yes.
Right. And I'll bring that up with ITS. I talk to Patrick Liss on Teams all the time. I'll ask him about it to see if there's something going there.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So anybody have anything? Carol wants to talk. Hey, Carol.
Hi, Steve. In my small group, and now in Michael and someone else in the chat, talk about moving things from classroom to online. And the emphasis here in awe and think you should commend yourselves for how quickly everybody has taken to this. Hearing people saying, I went on Webex the first time, and you can share a group about your experiences. One person is making sure that students get their hours in to graduate in unbelievably innovative ways. And I think that's really lost in this. So I want to make sure that it's acknowledged.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Yeah, we in my doctoral program, we held welcome webinars from May through the start of our class. In our very first class, when the students showed up, they had already met each other like this so much that they walked in and they were hugging each other within 5 minutes. And they were just so happy to see each other. They got rid of all the name tags. They didn't need name tags. They knew each other right away. I have a feeling after we get through this on the other side, we need to have a party because I want to see you all.
Right.
I've made so many good friends online so far. We're gonna have a big shindig of some kind, and we'll get together and have some fun, and I'll get to see you all. So let's jump into, unless we have anything else, I want to go into discussion boards, and we're going to do a little activity to get everybody sharing. Anybody have anything else that's a hot question or an issue before we do? No. Okay. So for all of you out there who have something to share, bring up your discussion board on your computer. Be prepared to share your screen. A cool idea, something you're doing, maybe something you need help with, but pull up your course, pull it up, pull your discussion boards up. Everybody pull it up. I'm going to put you into rooms, and you all are going to work in small groups to help each other. Okay? And yeah, we're going to do that. All right, so bring up your computers. I'm going to put you in room, and you're going to be in groups of about 6 or 7 people. And what I want you to do is go to the room, share what you're doing, share what you need help with. So share what you're doing, share what you need help with. And we're going to take 15 minutes and then come back and talk a little bit about what we learned, okay? So head on to rooms, share what you've got, and share what you need.
Steve, I got to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, Fred, come join us. Fred, come join us in that room. Click on your screen and join the room on the screen.
Okay, same here. Seems Steve is with us here.
Yeah.
Oh, so we are privileged.
Yeah. I'm privileged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Let's see how we're going to start. I'm a little bit confused here, but
Yeah, maybe I can start with my small experience yesterday.
please do. Please do.
So I am in computer science. I had to teach 2 classes yesterday, and I did it via live Webex session.
Uh-huh.
And it went well, not bad. So 70% students were able to join, not 100%. And I already announced, via Canvas that, hey, just try to join. If you cannot, that is okay. Anyway, I'll be posting the recording later, and you can watch later. And I also actually made the videos of my lecture with screencast, like using Camtasia software, and I have posted those videos beforehand. So many students have already watched them before coming to the live Webex session. That helped. And then when the live session started, I just give a quick overview, and then give some small task to students. It's about computer science coding, so they spend like, say, 10-15 minutes to do that exercise and share some opinion or made some discussion, and that is how it kind of went. So overall, it was okay on my side. And after the live session is done, I was scared because Webex was not showing the recording, which I have promised to students that I'll post. But after a few hours in the night, maybe late night, Webex did show up the recording. So that was a relief.
I had that same experience too. Of, oh no, where did it go?
And I learned that when we start recording, if we change the mode to recording on computer, then we don't need to wait. We can get that recording in our computer. I have learned. I mean, I have heard about it, but next time I'm going to try it. Steve, do you know about that? That there are 2 modes of recording on Webex?
Yeah, you can record to your hard drive, and then what I do is I upload it to a up to YouTube, and then I put it in a playlist for the class. That way, I can put the link to the playlist on Canvas, and then the students can always click and see all the recordings, and then I can send out via an announcement, hey, here's the latest recorded session. But when I download it, when I record it to my hard drive, I can immediately have access to uploading it to YouTube.
That is great.
And then
So
making it available.
You have tried that feature on Webex already, correct?
I only do it with Zoom because I stay with that. On Webex, what you do is on the features there, I'm gonna go look, but I would look at the settings and to see where the settings say record to the cloud. When you hit record, it might give you the option to the cloud or to your hard drive. That might give you that option there.
Right.
There's
So
an
I would
issue
check that.
with the transcription. If you do it recording to your computer, to get the transcription, I think you have to take it into YouTube, I think that's the difference between the cloud and the computer.
I see.
Well, Webex is skipping, it's taking immediately and putting it online and transcribing it for you. Similarly, if you take and put it on YouTube, it'll take an upload process. That's why it takes time, because it takes a few hours to process it. So it'll upload it and it'll process and make it available the same exact way. It's just 2 different places.
I see. That's a
You
great
get transcription in either place. The difference is you'll lose your Webex recording after so many days and after so much memory. On YouTube, you got it forever. Pretty much, you know?
But there is one comment on that, Steve. So even if we do on cloud recording on Webex, when it is available on Webex after a few hours with those transcript, we can actually download those videos on our computer and then, anyway, we have them.
Yep, and then put them right back up to YouTube if you want. Yep.
Correct. So that can also work.
Yep, that's good.
It seems to me, if I may, actually, it's very interesting to hear you talking about YouTube and moving things from Webex to YouTube and so on. For somebody like me, frankly, this is a little bit like an advance, is like theoretical. And I am a person who I want to know first, what is even Webex? And even I really struggled with the question of how even I am going to be on Webex. I tried the Webex feature on the left-hand side, the column in Canvas, which you're all familiar with. I clicked on it. I tried to interact with it, and I couldn't do much. Then, just yesterday, somebody, I think even Steve was part of the interaction yesterday. Somebody said, you have to go do this, do that, and I didn't do it yet. So I think what I'm trying to say here is I am a little bit fascinated by the potential of what we have for Webex, but I think first things first for me, and I don't want to really stop you and your tracks, guys. You are way ahead.
Yeah.
So could we just somehow, how are we going to get into it? See?
Gotcha. That's a great, Salim. So Terrence Armentano, who's in there, so in the chat say, or get Terrence. He's doing small sessions for first timers.
Okay.
And they're doing them all throughout the week and at different times. And they're doing live sessions and they're coaching you and stuff like that. Terrence has put that on in the document. he put a couple of links for some videos that were starter videos.
Okay.
But if you go to Terrence, if you email Terrence, or he's online, he's with us today.
Uh-huh.
If you send a note to Terrence, say, Terrence, and when we go back and check in, let's have Terrence do a little bit on first timers where they can go to get support, and I'll have him show you, so you can this week go into some of these beginner sessions that he set up.
Great, lovely.
I'm in the same situation.
Yeah, so that's good. So we'll need to do that. We need to get that for everybody. We're finding, the good thing is you're seeing the potential. The bad thing is you need to get started at the basic level so you can get there.
Right.
And so we got to try to do both. Show all the cool stuff that's happening and help people up here, and then help people that are starting and going.
Yeah, right. Great.
So maybe about, it's probably been about 10 or 15 years ago, I used Camtasia to kind of do a voiceover PowerPoint. I need my students to have some understanding before we meet live, so that they can be able to contribute and have a conversation. So
that's great.
I know that the gentleman just mentioned that he used Camtasia. I'm trying to find something simple for me to get some kind of instructional videos out there, or
you can get Camtasia to work. That's paid for by the university, so you can call ITS and get Camtasia made available to you. I use Screencast-O-Matic, and the free version will record up to 15 minutes. And I typically don't do much more than a 15-minute version.
I'll never do more.
So check out Screencast-O-Matic, as well as you got Camtasia paid for. Screencast-O-Matic is a little bit more, I think a little easier maybe, but Camtasia's just got a lot of sophisticated tools. So either one, Camtasia or Screencast-O-Matic. Second,
Screencast-O-Matic is some free software that I can.
Yep, online. Yep, you can. Yep, you go type in Screencast-O-Matic, you'll find it, and then you can create that. Then I would say that one of the things that's really cool to do to get them to show up ready, first, give them the lecture and material to read. Second, make them take a quiz online.
Yeah, I have that.
Third, make them do some answers on a discussion board where they have to answer some questions related to the material and discuss it with each other. Then have them show up.
Okay. So I've got all of those elements, but not in that order. So
yeah.
Think about that order.
Yeah, if you do that, then they're going to show up, and then you're going to take it a little further. But have the discussion board related to a project that they're doing or a bigger test that they're going to have after your live session. So the first three things have helped them there.
Steve, can you please repeat that sequence?
And then I see Kara there. I hope, Kara, you're okay. I'm seeing you like this. I hope you're not like going, oh, crap. I need to have my question answered.
No.
So I would first have them get the material in the lecture. So content to read. And I like to use what's called situated learning or problem-based learning, where they have those two things, the readings and the lecture, but they have to accomplish a task that requires them to look at that lecture and look at that reading. So what do they need? They're going to have a quiz on that stuff, so they have to read the stuff to do the quiz. And I might have a discussion board with a couple problems to solve, or something a little deeper to wrestle with. All of that stuff. So it's the material, a quiz, and then a discussion board leading into a project or a big test. In between the three and the big project or test, I have live sessions where I'm talking and helping them through everything. Because once they start working on the stuff, the situated learning is all about learning in service of a task. So I give them a problem and then say, go solve it. And then I ask them, do you want help? You know? So I could do it in that sequence. Yeah.
When you are talking about a big task, you are not talking about one day lecture. You are talking about multiple days.
Yeah, right. So I might take a lecture with the quiz and another lecture with the quiz that they read. And then I have a discussion board that's kind of drawing from that material, that's getting them to share it. And I even have them put posts, drafts in the questions on the discussion board. They sometimes will have a portion of the bigger project that they need to do that they're sharing, and they're all seeing each other's work, and then they learn better, and then they take that portion and put it into their big project, you know, sometimes. So you scaffold it, you kind of build it up, and get them sharing their work. Because the minute I see your work and you answered it, and I have them post drafts of their paper with their discussion board, right? So they answer a couple questions, post a draft, comment on each other. All of a sudden I realized, wait a second, Fred and Salim are way ahead of me, man. And, you know, and I'm way ahead of Joe, you know, but they realize where they are and they learn from each other, and sort of, so you scaffold it.
Thank you.
So let me pause there, because we have Kara. We haven't talked to Kara, who's got a nice cup of coffee. Oh my goodness, that looks good. That is a special cup of coffee, man. Whoever handed that to you loves you a lot. That's a beautiful cup of coffee. So you want to share with us where you are, Kara, and a little bit about what you're doing and what maybe...
Yeah, so I have really benefited from these sessions, and I had my first class yesterday, and we did it on Webex, and it was like my usual lecture format with Q&A. And I had that same issue of the lag in terms of being able to get the recording, but luckily it was successful, and so now I feel more confident. I was kind of experiencing anxiety over spring break about the whole technical stuff, but I guess my questions are about using Canvas to have these discussions that you're talking about. Which of these features would I go into, or what videos would I look at to learn about how to have these discussions online?
The discussion board that I was just describing?
Yeah.
So I can share with you, I think we got time, I can share with you what I do. So I'll share my screen. Okay, so you see my screen?
Yeah.
And okay, this is my graduate class, but I do the exact same approach for graduate and undergraduate. So when I go into discussions, I create discussions, and I can assign a discussion. So here's the discussion board one. I do pretty extensive. I call them mini papers. And these discussion boards set the stage for a bigger project. So they're doing things that are going to be used later. So I set the discussion board up. Do you see? So have you used discussion boards much or not?
No.
Okay, so if you're in discussion boards and you want to start a discussion, well, let me just go back to this. So I go in and you have so I'm creating this is an extensive discussion board, mind you. This is not normal, okay? It can just be sometimes just a couple questions. And so what I'll do is I'll set up a discussion board. I'll put an instructional video at the front. I'll do a Screencast-O-Matic or a Camtasia, and I'll literally walk through the discussion board and discuss the questions, how to answer them, and those kinds of things. So I do that after I create it. I put that in here. That's a YouTube video. You see that?
Yeah.
And when I drop a YouTube video link in, it puts the video right in to the discussion board. It'll play right there in. So they can watch a video overviewing. Hi class, Steve here, and we'll walk you through the instructions for the discussion board number one. It's a two-step process. Step one. So there's that, and then I have a little bit of an intro to instruction. Then I lay out how I want the questions that I want them to answer. There's question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, 5. I do extensive. It's like these are 2,000 word posts. This is the way I do it. But every one of these pieces are all being used for the next step, next in the scaffolding. They're being used for, they're going to use the answers that they have here in their paper, in their group project.
Yeah.
So I'll have them answer a question here individually that they need to then work in a group on, because they oftentimes don't show up to their group with their homework done. So I'll make sure the discussion board is done first, so that when they show up for their group meeting, they all come ready, right? Because I grade them on it, so they have to come with something. and everybody sees it and they see each other's work. So they come in primed to talk about that question. So a lot of times I'll set the questions up for the next level learning or project. So this is what a discussion board looks like. I can send you one of mine, or I can put you in my class as an observer. You can come in and take a look and roam around and see all this stuff if you like. To create a discussion board, if I go into discussions, right there, I click on discussions, I create a discussion right there.
Wait.
I title the discussion. So test discuss, I say this is test. And I give the instructions with questions. I come down here. I allow them to reply to each other. I make it graded. I can make it groups, and the groups have to each discuss in groups. I do that. I create groups. I get 80 people in an online class sometimes, or in my classes. So I'll break them up into groups so they will post, and only their group will see it. So there's only 8 or 10 of them. So they're not looking at 80 posts.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and then I put in when it's available from and until, and then I save and publish it, or save it and then I publish it later. There's a lot of good resources, Kara, on how to do discussion boards and how to set them up, and the technical piece that I just showed you.
Okay.
So you will not be alone. There's lots of really good detailed videos that walk you through how to do it, and so forth. And yeah, Salim.
Could we just connect how discussion board differ from conferences, and could we bring both together?
So I think so, in the way that you might be thinking, like a chat that goes parallel to a discussion while we're having a discussion board. Or you could have people do a discussion board, have the conversation, and then have a live session where people are discussing the discussion board. I think that would be good.
The live discussion you're talking about is the conferences?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think you could. So I'm noticing time, and this is great, but we need to go back. Does anybody have anything before we go that you want to say? Because I have to leave and go get everybody back together because we're almost at the hour.
I think we are good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, good. I'll see you all back in the big room.
Great, Steve. Thank you.
Okay. So I think what's really hit me, Salim, is as we talk, all kinds of cool stuff is like, how can we take a discussion board, have the class actually discuss, have the discussion board post, discuss in groups, then hold a live session to debrief on the discussion board, and maybe link the learning from the discussion board that everybody had into a live conversation talking about how do we translate what we've learned in the discussion board to our big project that we're doing. And I think the key is that we're looking at scaffolding. We're looking at how do we scaffold, scaffold the quiz and the material to a discussion board, how the discussion board then creates the conditions to then build on that to a live discussion to kind of debrief. And that's where you get to the learning, kind of the real-time learning where you're addressing where they are, which then links all of that work to maybe a big project, a group project, or a major exam that's coming up, something along those lines. So looking at how we scaffold these kinds of things. And I also find that, like what you were saying, Salim, is really a neat idea of really having a debrief on the discussion board might be, it's a really good idea for a live session. So everybody, welcome back. What I learned is we have a lot to share, and we could spend a lot more time in these breakout sessions. At least we could have. And we'll just do that on Thursday. I think Thursday is going to be a show and tell. I think we're going to say, come Thursday, we're going to go into breakout rooms right away, have groups of about 6-7 people share what they're doing for 30 minutes, and then come back and share some of that and dig into some questions because we got to wrap up today. So come Thursday to share what you got, what you're learning, and also to learn and to ask some questions. And let me pause. And I'm going to throw the hot potato over to Terrence. Salim asked a really good question, and I'm going to open it up for questions. But a kickoff question is, he said, now we've got people that are advanced and beginners, and we're all kind of watching it. And the beginners are watching the advanced going, thank you, that's really cool stuff. I see what it can do, but I'm way down here. How do I get started? Where can I get help to get started? I think how to do discussion boards, even how to set them up, how to do all the basics. So I think we want to have this hybrid experience where we have different levels of expertise, but I think we're also going to need to provide something for both ends. So you want to speak to that a little bit, where they can get some resources and put it in the chat room where they can go to get the beginner stuff? And can you share a little bit more, Terrence?
Yeah, sure. Actually, in our breakout room, I was sharing the framework that we developed for people that are starting from basically ground zero. And if you have a second, I can share my screen and kind of show you really quick. It's a resource we created to help people just get going. So
I'm going to pause. Let me pause one second. So if you have to go, we committed to an hour each time. Please, in the chat room, if you have to leave, say, what's your takeaway? What's a learning, something that you appreciate that you got? And say goodbye in the chat. And then go ahead and you can go ahead and go. We're going to keep recording, and the recording will be made available later today. So we're going to go a little bit longer, and Terrence will share a little bit for the beginners.
All right. So yeah, I'll just take a few minutes to share, and we can always go into more detail at a later time. Let me pull up my screen share.
You can go a little slower, Terrence. So give them what they need to get started, and maybe find the resources and walk them through. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Let me know. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah. Actually, no.
All right. 1 second. All right. And how about now?
Okay.
All right, great. All right. So this was created as a template to help people start from the very beginning. You can see that it basically frames it out. So when a student comes in and sees this, I'm going to switch over to student view. You can see it's a really clean layout for them. And basically what it does is it allows you to have your announcements at the top, and then everything that you're working on for that week down below it as a module. So, you got your week number, your date, and the topic of content you're covering, a space for an overview of everything that's going on that week, a space for your lecture materials, whether that be a live video, whether it be a video, PowerPoint, PDF, web, a space to have a discussion, and a graded assignment. And we've found that this sort of framework works for about 80–90% of people that are working through an online course. And you can go through, I'm going to leave student view. So this is a blank template with space holders for you to go ahead and plug in your information. So if you actually wanted to edit this, you would, just like you would any Canvas course, you go into the week 1, edit it. And here you can say, hey, this week's going to cover X, Y, Z. This is a really cool feature if you want to include your voice or a little webcam of you. You can go ahead and click that link, and it'll allow you to record yourself. But before we go and get into any more details about this, I wanted to show you how you can get this, or share with people how they can get this template. You can just click on the Import from Commons app in the top right corner of your course. This will take you to basically Canvas's marketplace of modules and courses and things that you can bring in. Well, we created this template to be in the Canvas marketplace that anyone around the world can download and use. And the way that you would get that is you just type in my name, which is Armentano. And then when you click on it, it says new to Canvas, use this simple Canvas course template and go. And you can see right here, this is what you're getting. You're going to get 7 weeks framed out for you. And then the way that you just bring it in is you click the import download button. Once you do that, you choose the course that you want to import it into. So I've got a ton here. You might not have as many. So let's say I wanted to import it into this course. You just check the box and click import, and then the next thing you know, you'll have that framework as your framework for your course. So it's a great way for people to start from the very beginning because it provides that foundational level of structure. And then from there, you can customize it the way that you want for your course. You can add content through your modules just like you would any other. But at that point, I'm going to stop sharing and take any questions you have about that.
Yes, Terrence, could you please again show us the button to go to in order to download the template again?
Yep. So when you log into your Canvas course, whatever course you're in, you'll see in the top right corner, there's an import from Commons button right here.
Yes, right.
When you click that, it'll take you to the Canvas marketplace of content.
Right.
And then from here, you can type in my name.
Okay.
And it's Armentano.
Okay.
And then that'll pop up. You can see it's been downloaded. I just put it up there a couple days ago, and it's been downloaded 26 times. So
okay,
it's good to see. By the way, that is my wife and kid in the photo, and that's me in the background reading to one of my kids. It's a stage photo.
Salim, if I could interrupt for a second, Terrence.
Yeah, go ahead.
Canvas Commons is a great resource too, because there's a ton of stuff in there from faculty all over the world. So you might be teaching I'm making this up, at a history of architecture class, and you might be thinking, oh, I really need some content on, I have no idea, some specific basilica somewhere, and do a search. You could find some stuff in there already created by someone where you could import it, and maybe that'll meet your needs. Or Terrence used an example, maybe there's some sort of stats class or an algebra class where there might be a neat little module already created that some faculty member very similar to you in another department or halfway across the world may have already created and made freely available for you to use.
Lovely.
Right. And it's important to notice what you're actually importing. So you can either import the entire course like I just showed you, but you could also just import a page of content, a quiz, so that these little icons show you what you're actually bringing in, which is useful.
Right.
Anything else?
Well, thank you, Terrence. This has been super helpful. Could you put in the chat room where people can go to sign up for some of your intro courses? There's other courses being offered. Patrick mentioned some stuff, so I don't know if there was a central location to go to look at all the different webinars and classes and workshops being offered.
Yeah. Right now, we don't have anything. Right now, it's all on the ITS remote learning and teaching webpage. So I think, Paul, do you know, I'll pull that up and put that in there. Let me see.
The Center for Faculty Excellence has been offering a variety of different webinars and related content. I'm not certain off the top of my head what's coming up right now, but again, I would direct your attention. I think Terrence will put the link in there in the chat for the remote teaching one, and there should be something in there with details. And of course, the Technology Support Center has added a lot of individual video clips and related tutorials as well. So I would put everything you got into there. You can't go wrong.
And Terrence, if you could, please, could you put that also in our notes section where in that document that we have?
Yeah.
You mind taking, if you could put it all, like everything where we need to go to see the big stuff like CFE, your group, ITS, I think those are the three biggies. If there's like a place where you a page that say, go to this page, go to this page, and go to this page, you'll see ITS, CFE, and summer and online programs. These three pages are the pages that will have everything. I just don't know which page to recommend to people. If I can recommend, if you can show those three, that would be great in that document.
Right, and the three of us have all been trying to work together to kind of centralize it. So yeah, I'll get that to you in that document.
Yeah, if you just make a little line item and say the 3 big sort places to go,
Yeah.
BG, and then put them in there with a little note, and then I'll try to make sure I tell people about that over and over again so they know where to go there. And that, because the big thing is if they go there, they can find stuff for beginners, intermediate, and advanced users, and that's a big thing.
Right, and the one I just sent you here is the main one that's gonna kind of parse everything out.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it, Terrence.
Yep.
Does anybody have anything else before we say goodbye for today?
Can I make a comment quick, please?
Sure.
Steve, I think, I'm talking to everybody, but Steve, when we were in the break room and you explained a little bit about the doctoral class you were offering and so on, I thought that was a neat way of explaining. Though everything has been done is useful in certain way. From my perspective, best thing for somebody to follow, maybe it's only me, is the following. If we have a scenario, maybe we'll throw in a class about, say, sociology 2006, whatever it is, okay? And this is the scenario. I am the professor. This is the syllabus. And I'm gonna take one assignment. And this is the way I'm gonna go about it. Like those 3-4 levels which you were talking about when we were in the break room. I think that then I say, okay, now I'm gonna go to the discussion. Now I'm gonna bring in Zoom. Now this, I thought always that is one of the best scenarios somebody can relate to. So I'm just throwing this there.
Yeah.
If there's any possibility for that.
Yeah, I think I could take my one of my undergraduate classes. I use the same model for all my classes, undergraduate, master's, doctorate. I have a kind of a model, and what it is, it's how I take content, connect it to testing, connect it to the discussion board, connect it to projects, and connect it to capstone assessments, and how I scaffold the learning across the sequence of that so that it becomes an interwoven experience individually and in groups. And I can show it because it's a template, how that flows and how to do all of that. I could do that for something, and maybe I'll do that like in the next week. I'll try to get it together and have it be prepared, and I'll send something out. Maybe we can just tape it and record it. But it would be a 2-hour session almost. I'd have to go through a little bit, pause, answer some questions, go through a little bit, pause, go through a little bit and pause, because there's a lot to it. And then if it's recorded, we could break it up. People could then maybe see that. So I'll see if I can do something like that.
Great.
And it's my 30-50 class, which is a class that almost all students are taking. It's Principles of Management. Most of the degree programs across campus require students to take that for their degree as a kind of an intro to, organizations. I'll try that, Salim. So good idea.
Thank you.
What do you think, Terrence? Do we have anything like that yet done?
No, that sounds good. I think that'd be really cool, a cool thing. And then we could connect to that once you create it on that page I sent.
And what we're going to do is the invitation is going to be a picture of Kara right now. Can't move. Can't move. Because the way you're sitting with the big eyes like that, it's like, it's like, that's a perfect picture of, like, oh my goodness, online learning. It's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Where can I get some WebEx 101? I'm trying, so I don't even think that I'm connecting properly.
So where can he go, Terrence, to get some help after this? Can he email you later, or to Patrick Lisk?
Yeah, let me hold on. I think I'm muted.
Because there's a WebEx playlist of like all the basics. So Fred, if you go, it's in the resource document that we share that you have in the links. There's a YouTube playlist that says WebEx playlist on YouTube, and it's done by ITS at BGSU, and it walks you through.
Right. Yeah, the CFE website has all of their trainings, and one of them is WebEx online workshops that you can sign up for. That's right there on their homepage.
Yeah,
on the
in
right.
fact, you can get that. Yeah, and you can get that pretty much quick right away. You can at least begin going through that. If someone wants to put that.
Yeah, I'll put that there. Let me get the direct link though. So the first link was to the CFE webpage. You can see all the trainings they are offering on the right. And then this is the specific one you were asking about, which is the WebEx online workshop.
See that there, Terrence? Fred, I'm sorry, Fred.
I don't see. I don't see any.
It's in the chat window at the
Go in
bottom.
chat. You got to look in the chat. Click on at the bottom. You'll see chat. You see along the bottom of your screen, you see a chat and it'll pop up. You'll see a lot of.
I don't see anything.
Put your mouse over the video icons that.
I'm on an iPad.
Ah, okay.
I think on the iPad you have to swipe left and right, Fred, to get to some of the other screens that offer you the chat. So Fred, I'm gonna find your email from the registration. I'm going to email you that link to the document that Terrence and Steve are referencing.
So what's your email, Fred? Tell them right now.
FCOLEMA.
Hang on, let me open one and do it right now. Go ahead.
FCOLEMA.
Okay.
At bgsu.edu.
Gotcha. Going out to you right now.
All right, everybody. Kara, you're not alone. I know this is, so, and Salim, you're not alone. We'll help you and get you through all this.
Thank you.
Fred, it's,
all you have to do is just add.
So
it's COLEMA. FCOLEMA. FCOLEMA at BGSU. So, the most important thing, Kara, Salim, and for everybody is ask. You got to just raise a red flag and say, I'm stuck here, I need help. You got Terrence, you've got Patrick Lisk, you've got me, you got others. They're full-time working on this. I'm on the side kind of helping and trying to help support from a faculty perspective. So between all of us, if you send an email out to the three of us all at once or even more, and just say, I need help, I'm stuck, you'll get some help.
Thank you. That's great.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, Steve, thanks for organizing this. It's just super helpful for me to kind of get a sense of the sampling of people that and what their questions are. Because I'm a part of a working group that's trying to centralize messaging and communication. So this is really useful. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, well, Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
If you come every time and somebody's here from that group, that like get that group to come, you'll hear firsthand what everybody's needs are.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, okay, everybody.
All right, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.